In this rough cut snip, we're going to look at adding comments to a Juniper Junos configuration. I'm already in configuration mode on my EX Series Switch, and the first type of comment we're going to add is actually a description. So to get started, I'll first have a look at my interfaces, and I can see there an interface range called LAN. I can run a set command against that interface range, providing the description statement and providing my comment. If your comment has any spaces in it, it must be wrapped in quotation marks. And now if I have a look at that interface range, I can see that my description has been added under my member interfaces. The benefit of using a description over simply annotating a comment is that that comment is then included in the output of a number of other commands. For example, on that interface range, if I have a look at any of the interfaces that are members of that range, such as GE000, I can see that my description is included in the output. I'll roll back that command as it's going to impact later demos. And next we'll be annotating our comments rather than adding them to descriptions. You can annotate any statement within your configuration, and you need to be editing the parent of whatever that statement is. So for example, I need to use the edit command and specify my LAN interface range if I want to annotate one of the member interfaces. If I run show, I can see all of the statements that I can annotate. So I specify annotate and the statement, in this case GE005, and provide my comment. Again, if there's going to be spaces, I need to use quotation marks. And I can see that that annotation has been added with a /* at the start and a / at the end. If you prefer having a hash mark instead of the other notation, you can specify that in the comment itself. So if I annotate another interface, I can provide the hash and the rest of my comment. And now I can see that that comment has been added with a hash mark rather than the opening and closing symbols that are used by default. I'll quickly head back to the top of my configuration and get rid of those changes I've just made, and we'll head over to a text file of my configuration. It's possible to make your changes within text file directly and then import them over to your switch, and doing so allows you to have multi-line comments, and we'll get into that in a little bit. So you can add your annotations directly to this configuration. So for example, I've added a note there on root authentication that the password is stored in our password manager, and as I did from the CLI, I can annotate the member interfaces under my LAN interface range. So interface 0 is a wireless AP, interface 5 is an FPOS terminal, and interface 11 is a multifunction printer. Using those opening and closing /* symbol combinations, you can provide multi-line comments. So for example, I've specified that my uplinks interface range, fiber uplink ports, and that 1 gigabit SFP modules were installed on the supplied date. You can also use this at the top of your configuration to provide a message of the day type message. Though this probably isn't the best way to provide a message of the day, it will put a large comment of your choosing at the top. Notice with these multi-line comments, I've indented them, and I'll point out how Junos handles these once we've committed it. But before we do that, I'll quickly show some examples of comments that won't work. You can't add a comment to the end of a line. So for example, I can't annotate that Jim's laptop is on interface 9 on the right hand side of that statement. I also can't add an annotation underneath a statement. So we'll note when this is taken over that neither the comment on line 34 nor the comment on line 28 will be represented in the configuration. So I'll quickly copy this and we'll head back to party session and we'll run load merge terminal paste in that configuration and then type Control D to say that we're done. If we look at the changes by running show compare, you can see that that multi-line comment at the top has been added, as has the comment on root authentication, our member interfaces, and our fiber interface. But you won't see any changes there for Jim's laptop, which we annotated to the right of the statement, and you also won't see the other comment that was added below a statement. If we look at our interfaces, again, you can see all three comments have been added to our configuration, as has the multi-line comment for our uplinks. However, note that it has not been indented. Also see, if we look at our entire configuration, that our message of the day comment is at the top, but again, it isn't indented. Any comments you add will line up with the statement that they belong to. So note, root authentication is here, and it lines up with the annotation that we added above it. The same applies for our interfaces. The comment for interface 0 lines up with the statement for interface 0. And same again for the interface range uplinks. That has been adding comments to a Juniper Junos configuration. Thank you for watching.